The DC TV crossover event of 2017 event is here. The CW superheroes are facing crisis on Earth X, and guess what? Just like the relatively obscure DC comic story it's very loosely based on, this baby is packed with more DC superhero mythology per minute than pretty much all of these shows combined have managed to pull off all year. So here's how this works. If you want the full reviews, you're in the wrong article. Hit the blue episode titles that offset each section to be taken to actual critical analyses. This is just for folks looking to spot the DC Comics references. And if you spot something I missed, drop it in the comments or hit me up on Twitter. In the spirit of the comic book Easter egg goodness we are about to bestow upon you, let's just kick it off with this awesome Phil Jimenez comic book tribute cover. First of all, what the hell is Earth X? Well, that's a long story, but fortunately for you, we have a whole history of it right here for you. Supergirl Season 3 Episode 8 Crisis on Earth X Part 1. Right out of the gate with this one, we get red skies on Earth X. For DC Comics fans, we all know that red skies always signal some kind of multiversal crisis. The idea of restoring hope to a corner of the DC universe is similar to what DC Comics had to do from a publishing standpoint with the Rebirth Initiative in 2016. It worked, too. The Earth X Nazis used the Hail Victory line, which is something we've heard that pathetic limp dick with a bad haircut, Richard Spencer, say when he mumbles incomprehensible nonsense disguised as obscure philosophy at one of his stupid rallies for tiny crowds of suckers here in the real world. So, Earth X Jimmy's Guardian armor is pretty patriotic, and his shield ends up looking like the Golden Age Captain America's original shield. But this is my question, since we're meeting the freedom fighters in later episodes of this, and they were led by a patriotic hero named Uncle Sam, who I am pretty sure we are not going to meet on TV, does that mean that patriotic Guardian Jimmy is the show's stand-in for Uncle Sam? We have our obligatory King Shark appearance in this episode. I'm joking, there is nothing obligatory about a King Shark appearance. He graces your screen with his presence. Aside from the last year joke with Supergirl fighting a Dominator, there's a little more significance here. The Dominators are primarily known as a race that menaces the Legion of Superheroes, and they are most definitely going to figure heavily on this show going forward. So why did a pissed-off Dominator show up out of nowhere? Probably because he's chasing Monal and the rest of the crew of that mystery ship from last week. I want to go back in time and tell 10-year-old me that there will one day be an episode of TV where Heatwave attends Barry Allen's wedding. That is all. This is by far the least important thing happening at the West Allen wedding, though. Who is the mysterious waitress? I will bet you an adult beverage that this is Dawn Allen, one half of twins born to Barry and Iris in the far future. How far in the future? Well, remember how I keep saying the Legion of Superheroes is about to become a really, really important part of this world, yeah? The priest who gets vaporized, that, my friends, is former Greatest American Hero star William Catt. This is amazing. What was the greatest American hero, you ask? Only the superhero TV show with the second greatest superhero TV show theme song ever. Cisco calling Harry Squidward is priceless. I love that Marvel Comics exist as fiction in the CW verse. I am very excited about this. I am also going to be very sad if I am wrong. Arrow Season 6 Episode 8 Crisis on Earth X Part 2. I feel like these shows long ago established that there are, in fact, infinite Earths and not just the standard current line of 52, well, 53, but I could be wrong. But as I've always said, if there are 52, they each have their own 52, and each of those has their own 52, and thus, yeah, infinite. The heist goes down at Dayton Optical Systems. You know, Stephen Dayton was a rich scientist connected to the Doom Patrol, so he could certainly afford his own company. The fact that this isn't another alternate version of Harrier Reverse Flash but rather actually Yobard Thawne from yet another point in the timeline that we can't fathom yet brings me lots of joy. This is so perfectly in keeping with how Reverse Flash always appears in the comics. We don't know where he is relative to us in his lifespan. It's great. In general, though, it's a good idea to keep Yobard Thawne away from Barry Allen wedding days. I love that their evaluation of Hitler was that he was driven by passion and childish need, which sounds like it's ripped right from everyone's Twitter feed every morning around 6 a.m. or so. Am I right, folks? When Supergirl, Overgirl tells Oliver to burn, it reminds me of this awesome moment in Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons' Equally Awesome for the Man Who Has Everything. There are a couple of neat Grant Morrison connections with Supergirl here, believe it or not. For one thing, Nazi Supergirl seems really inspired by Morrison and Jim Lee's take on Earth X in Multiversity. The color scheme and SS logo are in keeping with that, as well as the idea of the rocket landing in the fatherland. But the reason that Supergirl is dying comes from a slightly more unlikely place. Supergirl is dying because she absorbed too much solar radiation and her cells are basically exploding. The reason is that she flew too close to the sun. Well, this is a clever Icarus reference. Flying too close to the sun is literally what kicked off the events of Morrison and Frank Quitely's All-Star Superman, which is essential reading, the best Superman story of this century, if not my entire life. Also, I love the fact that she's a general on Earth X. When Kryptonians go bad, they sure do love the rank of general, don't they? If we don't get her telling someone to kneel before this is all over, I'm gonna want my money back. Next up, we have the Flash and Legends of Tomorrow chapters. Well, update this with more from those episodes once they air. Crisis on Earth X trailer video of Crisis on Earth X sizzle. The CW video of Crisis on Earth X weapon extended trailer. The CW